Yesterday the guys were setting up this pump for the new bore. They were saying the water was actually not salty in it, so okay, why is that salty then? I was watching this on the camera over there. Let's focus. That camera there I was watching from the lounge room, and I could see that they had a very long piece of pipe going down the bore that they put in and took out a couple of times. And I thought, well, I don't think they quite understand the limitations, so I sort of drew up a diagram saying, okay, more than 9, if the water is more than 9 meters deep, that pump isn't going to suck it up, and if the water's less than 9 meters deep, the pump will be able to pull it up okay. And I tried to explain that to Jabida, and she was saying, oh, it's a really good pump. It doesn't matter if it's the best pump in the world, there's a limitation to how deep you can pull water from. So then I got onto Google and got the necessary information and put it in Google Translate and showed it to the guys, showing that yeah, beyond a certain depth you'll end up with the pump going into cavitation and not being able to pull anymore. So okay, so they pulled up their pipe, and this is the bit that they ended up cutting off it, still leaving about 12 meters, which is fair enough. So this is another source of water we have now, because apparently Dadang's well's dried up. We haven't had any rain since the 10th of July, and looking at the weather forecasts, we mightn't get any more for a while yet. The wet season is normally November to April, but looking at the information on the positive Indian Ocean dipole, apparently that can delay the onset of monsoons, which means we may get pushed back a bit. So this may become an essential water supply. My tanks, when they get down far enough, I'll turn off the tap that goes out to the gardens, so we can keep the remainder. May end up having to sacrifice the gardens eventually. We'll see. Hopefully not. Hopefully we get some rain. We're still at 12,500 litres in the front tank. I'm down here for my Sunday process, and this passion fruit certainly is looking like it's happy with the weekly water soaking. Glad it doesn't need more than that. The middle passion fruit's not nearly as enthusiastic, robust, but it's slowly getting there. And the one at the shed end is reaching upwards and outwards. I'm undecided on whether I want to let it get over to the shed or not, because don't know, I'll think further on that. It's still working on brightening that one, but yeah, time to go and turn on the vent tap. What I was really intending to do when I came over here, before I remembered it was Sunday and I needed to do my Sunday tasks, was resume cleaning out that southernmost lock-up cupboard. But first I got to move the scooter out of the way. I figure I only have a limited duration on this before I'm absolutely saturated with perspiration. In fact, I think I'm already saturated with perspiration already, but I'll give it 10 to 15 minutes anyway. Straight into the next cubicle. leftover cable that goes across to the house. So that's 6 square millimetre conductor. So that's good for a few amps. And this one's the 4 wire for the 3-phase that was left over. So not sure how much use we'll have for that in the future, but for this. But we have them on hand, and it's too valuable to throw out. This is what happens to chromed metal around here. This was a bathroom tap no more than 3 years old. The bore water is very nasty. Might be up this a whole lot longer. This is my stock of 6mm MDF sheets I brought from Australia. I figure it's damn useful stuff for constructing cupboards or little boxes or whatever. So it'd be nice to keep it flat. Probably should arrange to get it put up there, but it's a bit heavy. Some other time. MDF. It's a piece of clear polycarbonate. It's actually supposed to be the front for the battery box over at the house, but you don't really want to front on it. It's broken places anyway. So if ever I need a bit of clear polycarbonate or something, I can use this, cut pieces out of it. Everything from Tullamarine. Bit of leftover copper pipe from under the house when it was redone with PEX tubing because I was getting hairline punctures, sorry, pinhole punctures in the copper in places. So useful thing to wind up the string around, whatever. brothers' ants. These two I made at school. I have a rotary hoe for the power head. Genset's hanging long enough, I'll go and turn it off now. I thought I'd check the fuel gauge while I was there, and now it reads full. Maybe the vibration of running was enough with the pressure of the fuel underneath push the float up. See what it does in the future. That's the pole chainsaw for the power head. As well as these, there's also a brush cutter with a saw blade like the other. And there's my good long-handled shovel from Australia. I'm really dark about this one, I can tell you, because that was being used, and then I came out one day to see that it had been cut down and a piece of the handle put as a T across the top to make it into a spade. I was ropeable about that, I can tell you. Nobody sought my permission to do that, and I wouldn't have given it. And now, all it is a bit of wood left in the handle. So, I don't know if I can get another handle for that or not, a proper one. But that's a good Stanley shovel, that. And some buggers mucked it up. Not happy. This is the concrete vibrator. Should have bought this much earlier during shed construction. Very useful tool, this, once you have it. Gets rid of some of the voids in the concrete when you're pouring it. So I'm sure it'll get used again sooner or later. Just like the mixer bucket for the compact track loader. And that's the last remnant of the 400 metres of Australian electrical cable I brought for wiring the house. Should have bought 500 metres, turns out I was a little bit short. For the house I was short by about 10 metres, I think. I'd estimated 370 would be needed, and I thought I'd had plenty in hand, but no. But such is life. This is the plan. There's that for a fit. So, 2 of those, maybe 3, we'll see how strong it is. through those. Yeah, let's see. Maybe a third one. There's actually door hardware on this top and bottom that I can remove, but I don't have a use for it, so why go to the trouble? Okay. So if I put a few screws through that to bolt it down, that might help brace it a bit. Well, the battery fresh off the charger gave up during my struggles, so I don't know how much of this we caught, but that's as far as I'll go today. But that gives me now somewhere to organise things onto from my benches, which are a bit cluttered. Getting there. Looks like it's a good day for rice drying. Before I carry on with that, I've got another task I need to do with there's a bit of a problem with this chair currently. There's the problem. That's the spring supports underneath have broken off at one end, so I've got to see what I can do to rectify those. So let's see how we go. Here's my problem. This piece of spring steel has come detached from the frame that's originally welded to. So my solution for that is going to be a little bit creative. I'll do it and then show you the result. Well, there's my attempt at a fix. Strips of aluminium brought from Melbourne, left over from other things years ago, cable tied to each of those 6 springs. There's the offcuts of the cable ties, so you can see I used a few. Obviously my pieces of aluminium weren't long enough to reach across to the other pair over there, but hopefully that will be enough to support. It's the one to the right of the middle pair that was broken at the tip. So we'll see what that does. But I'd mentioned how these chairs have had work on them previously. Those wooden rails there with the slippy tips on them were added by me quite some time ago, so that this thing was easy to move around on the carpet in Tullamarine. That was long before I got rid of the carpet. Those bits of box channel there are obviously not original. They were put in by my friend Mark. Hi Mark, thanks again if ever you see this. He also was the one who modified the joints, so that's actually a ring welded in supporting a ball bearing in it with a bolt with nylock nut. Previously there was just brass and plastic bushes with rivets through them, so that's a big upgrade. And then there's the sound system. Don't know if we'll be able to see down in here or not. There's my bass shaker, so that's wired up across here. So there's a socket over this side, just in there, and there's another bass shaker bolted into the arm of the chair there. So it's a fairly heavily modified chair. I hope it lasts a lot longer because it's damn comfortable. But yeah, wear and tear. Okay, so the trick now is to see if they're sorted by... Okay. What could go wrong is the others will break in sympathy with the one that is broken. So, hope not. Hope to get many years out of this yet. But we'll see. That's another job done. I forgot to mention the package with the other, with the replacement control board for the off-grid system in the shed has finally arrived. So sometimes towards the end of this week or next week, engineer will turn up and do a replacement on that, and then hopefully we can make the genset fully automatic to come on when needed. What I'm up to now over here is putting these screws down through the wires to tie them together. They actually stick out the bottom, so I'll end up going underneath there with an angle grinder to cut them off, so nobody snags themselves. But yeah, I'm going to set up a fan in front of this to try and cool me a bit. It's hot over here. That's got all the lower layer screwed together, but I was thinking to leave that not attached so I could slide it out, but nah, leave it in there and provide extra support for that lower shelf so I can put really heavy things on that, put lighter things on the top one. So that's the next, just put in those 4 screws and I'll call it a day because I'm hot. I was going to come over and use the angle grinder to cut off those extra bits of screws myself, but Azra saw me over here and came over and volunteered. I'm not going to argue with that. Well, with Azra's help, we've got the top sheets screwed down too now. I cut a piece from one of the boards to make that support in the middle. I think I might have made it about 5mm too tall, but that's okay. Just means the thing bows up a little bit in the middle. Yeah, so the top's all screwed down now. The bottom left compartment, I've been in there with an angle grinder and cut them all short. Azra had a bit of a go with the diagonal cutters, but that bit's too long for my satisfaction. So my next trick is to do the same in the bottom right compartment. Azra's gone for a meal, which is fair enough. Oh, that's enough of that for now. loading the shelves. Well, I made a bit of a difference in there and a tiny little difference on my benches, but I'll proceed and get further clear up. Well, I got a wall loaded in here, and then I was vacuuming the floor, and one of out of Jabita's sight for too long. She worries about me, so she came to see what I was up to and insisted on taking over the vacuuming. Okay. Well, that rice is dry, I guess, and it sounds like they're processing some now. The guys are hard at work on the off-grid system. This is where we get to see the guts. So those huge, great transformers by the look of it for the inverters. Those are 5 kilowatt inverters. Well, they finished up here and got it all put back together. So all that all went okay. But I woke up at 20 past midnight. All the power to the house had gone off. I neglected to turn this one back on, so when the batteries on the house ran down to low enough level, it shut off the inverter. So my reaction to that was to, okay, go out, turn the automatic transfer switch to manual, and switch the old switchboard to PLN supply, which got back on lights and AC, and came over here, saw that switch was in the wrong position, switched that on, all was well. Then this morning I woke up and the genset had automatically started, and that kept running and running and running. My request was for it to turn on at 25% and turn off at 40%. Well, by the time the engineer got in remotely and reprogrammed it, it had reached almost 70%, but that should be right now, hopefully. But now I need to find out why the drain was so high last night. May never find that out, but there's a mission for me. But anyway, I'll edit this down and do an upload today. Just to add to my joys, one of my Ryobi batteries has decided it doesn't want to charge up beyond 1 bar anymore, so I think that one's ready for recycle. I've got 4 more, but time will tell.